The first genesis of the Nova Scotia Home for Coloured Children case started in 2001. This case was referred to us from a lawyer in Truro, Nova Scotia. He asked us to represent at that time 8 individuals who had approached him about the abuse that they had experienced in the 1970s and the early 1980s. And what we found as early as 1940, the Nova Scotia government was well aware that the poor African Nova Scotians were deprived of education, deprived of health and dental care, did not have food. Their clothing were really burlap sacks. A lot of that deprivation that happened in the earlier decades was dealt with to some degree. But what was emerging during this period of time is rampant sexual abuse, perpetrated and directed by the workers in the home. And the children were told not to tell anybody. When they tried to tell somebody, nobody believed them. Racism played a huge role. The province of Nova Scotia financed that home at a different rate than they financed the homes that were housing Caucasian children. And it wasn't to the bravery of the most recent government where they came in and recognized what had taken place and acknowledged it and apologized for it, did we get a change in attitude. And we started the class action, and public interest peaked. And the media was here behind us now because they recognized what was going on. And so when that started to be exposed, there was a groundswell of feeling and support and a change, a paradigm change in people's attitude. We've been talking from the very start that we wanted a public inquiry beyond a simple monetary settlement because it was so important for our society, so important for the people in the home who have been abused for so long to see some results and see some real change. And so that inquiry process is going to start in the fall of this year to deal with racial issues in this province.
For myself personally, because I've been so involved, because I've been one of the residents that were involved with the case with Ray from its inception, because I'm going to participate in the restorative inquiry, then I'm really hoping that this impact is not only just for the African Nova Scotians, but for Nova Scotians in general, because I think if the government takes the lead in how they do business with the constituents, they'll make a big difference in how all people are treated.
There was no small accident that lawyers who otherwise could have maybe kept more control of the case or kept it in their comfort zone showed up at a law school and said, here's a law professor who might be able to help you do something that is decidedly outside of the purview of the case as it was shaped within the civil justice system, but entirely connected to the cause of justice. This was an example of using law in its best capacity as an entry point to doing broader justice.
This case has been transformative to our society. It has allowed us to look inward and to question our own sense of equality. And I think that that's important for us all to do. It may not be the step to the end, but it's a giant step forward.